They said time would heal everything. But what if, when she finally opened her eyes, she forgot the only person who never stopped loving her? Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe for more heart-wrenching love stories and real-time updates on your favorite stars. You don't want to miss what happens next in this unforgettable journey between Go Eun and Lee Min-ho. The room was quiet. The soft beeping of machines, the gentle flicker of monitors. It had been weeks since she'd last moved, weeks since her accident on the drama set left her in a coma. Her fans prayed endlessly. Her colleagues lit candles in silence. But no one held on tighter than Lee Min-ho. Day after day, he sat by her bedside, whispering old stories, reading her favorite books, and playing the songs they used to sing together on breaks between scenes. He refused to leave, even when the doctors told him she might never wake up. But he never gave up hope. And then, one day, the miracle happened. Her fingers twitched. Her eyelids fluttered. And just like that, Go Eun opened her eyes. Lee Min-ho was the first person she saw. Or so he thought. He stood, tears already forming in his eyes, his heart racing. "Go Eun," he whispered, his voice breaking. "It's me. You're awake." But the moment their eyes met, her expression changed. She blinked. Slowly, carefully, as if trying to make sense of a stranger standing in front of her. Who are you?" she asked, voice hoarse and confused. Time froze. The air left his lungs. He felt the ground shift beneath him. This wasn't the reunion he had prayed for. The doctors rushed in, overjoyed at her progress but careful in their assessment. "A neurologist pulled Minho aside. It's temporary," he explained. "Retrograde amnesia. She's experienced trauma. Her brain is healing. Just give her time." But time was what Min-ho had already spent endlessly hoping for. He looked back at her. Go Eun, the woman he had shared laughter with, had comforted through tears, had loved silently but fiercely. And now, she didn't even know his name. Still, he didn't walk away. The next few days were filled with gentle reintroductions. The hospital staff, her friends, even her co-stars from past dramas came in to ease her into familiarity. Photos were placed around her room, memories frozen in time. And Lee Min-ho, he became just Min-ho to her. A kind stranger who brought her coffee in the morning and told her stories from sets she didn't remember. A man who smiled at her like she was his entire world, but never pushed her to feel anything she didn't. He showed her clips from The King, Eternal Monarch. "This was us," he said, playing their iconic romantic scene under the cherry blossoms. Go Eun watched, intrigued. "We look close." He laughed softly. "We were. But I don't remember any of it," she whispered. "I know," he said. "But I do." She looked at him then, eyes lingering longer than usual. There was something in his voice, something she couldn't place. Love wrapped in heartbreak. As the days turned into weeks, their connection began to rebuild. But this time differently. Go Eun was seeing him for the first time again. Not through memories, but through moments. The way he remembered her coffee order. How he adjusted her blanket when she fell asleep mid-conversation. The way his eyes lit up when she smiled. And slowly, she began to feel something. Not recognition, but familiarity. A pull. A warmth she couldn't explain. One night, under the soft glow of the hospital room lamp, she turned to him and asked, "Did you love me before?" He looked at her, heart aching. "Yes," he answered quietly. "Very much." She didn't say anything after that, but she reached out and held his hand. The next morning, she asked to go outside. It was the first time in months, and he wheeled her into the hospital garden, where spring was just beginning to bloom. Cherry blossoms fell around them, the same kind they once stood beneath on set. She looked up and whispered, "Deja vu." He smiled. "Maybe your heart remembers what your mind doesn't." The doctors noted her steady progress. Her physical strength returned faster than they'd anticipated. But her memory, it came back in fragments. A dream here, a flash there. A laugh that sounded too familiar. A photo that brought tears without reason. And then came the moment they never expected. Go Eun stood in front of the mirror one day, holding a photo of the two of them. She stared at it for a long time, then turned to Min-ho. "Your birthday is June 22nd, she said suddenly. He froze. "Yes." She blinked, clutching the photo tighter. "You hate cucumbers. And you always get nervous before interviews, even if you never show it." "You," her voice cracked. "You told me once that if I ever forgot you, you'd fall in love with me all over again." Tears welled up in his eyes. He nodded slowly. "I did say that. She walked toward him, step by trembling step. Then start again. He opened his arms, and she collapsed into them. Not out of weakness, but out of overwhelming emotion. Because something inside her had clicked. Maybe not all the memories were back, but the love was, the connection was, and that was enough. From that day on, their journey wasn't about restoring the past. It was about building something new from the ashes of the old. They started going on walks again. He took her to the beach, to cafes they once loved. And every so often, she'd say something that made them both stop. Details no one else could know. Signs that her memory was returning, bit by bit. In an emotional moment captured by a fan, Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun were seen laughing in a bookstore. No cameras, no crew, just two souls rediscovering each other. And then, during an interview months later, Lee Min-ho was asked what the most painful moment of his life had been. He paused, smiled, and said, "When the woman I loved looked at me like I was a stranger. But it was also the most beautiful, because I got the chance to earn her heart twice." Kim Go-eun was watching that interview, and she cried, not because she was sad, but because she remembered. She remembered everything. The accident, the coma, the fear, and the man who never left her side. She called him immediately. "I remember you," she said. He didn't need to ask what she meant. He just replied, "I never forgot you." That evening, they met again in that same hospital garden, now blooming with life. No scripts, no lights, just real love. She took his hand, looked into his eyes, and said, "Thank you for staying, for being patient, for loving me enough to wait." And he kissed her, this time not out of hope, but out of knowing. They were back, not where they started, but somewhere better, somewhere deeper. Because sometimes the strongest love stories aren't the ones that never break. They're the ones that break and find their way back, stronger than before. Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun's love story was one the world watched in awe, but only they knew how much it truly cost. And now, they live every day not taking anything for granted. Because when memory fails, love remembers. After that emotional reunion in the hospital garden, something shifted. Not just in their relationship, but in the way Kim Go-eun saw the world around her. What once felt unfamiliar began to feel like home again. It was as if every moment they shared was patiently waiting in the shadows of her memory, ready to come forward. Lee Min-ho never pushed her to remember, but she remembered anyway. Their love was no longer just about chemistry or drama scripts. It was about resilience, about fighting through the fog of uncertainty to find clarity in one another's hearts. Soon after her full recovery, Kim Go-eun was discharged, but she didn't go home alone. Paparazzi tried to catch a glimpse of the couple leaving the hospital. But instead of hiding, Lee Min-ho held her hand proudly in front of the cameras. No disguises, no denial, just truth. The world saw the way he looked at her. Not like a celebrity, but like the love of his life. It became one of the most shared photos online that month. A man walking beside a woman who had been to the edge and returned, stronger. Together, they spent the following weeks away from the public eye. Somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful. Lee Min-ho took her to Jeju Island, where the sea breeze carried laughter and healing in equal measure. There, Kim Go-eun rediscovered herself. They cooked meals together, watched the sun rise from the balcony, took long walks along the beach with no script and no camera, just the raw, unfiltered beauty of life. She laughed freely again. He smiled more, and little by little, the pieces of her soul returned to her. One night, while watching old behind-the-scenes clips from their drama, The King, Go-eun rested her head on his shoulder and whispered, "How long did you wait?" He looked down at her with soft eyes. "Long enough to know you were worth every second." She turned her face to him and kissed him, not because she remembered the first time, but because she knew this one mattered just as much. Fans noticed their renewed closeness when Kim Go-eun posted a candid photo on her Instagram. A sunset silhouette of two figures holding hands on the beach, no caption, just a heart. The comments section exploded. He never left her side. True love does exist. Lee Min-ho is a real-life prince. Look at them. The way he waited for her. I'm in tears. Even celebrities chimed in, praising the depth of their bond. Fellow actors shared their admiration privately, saying that what Lee Min-ho did wasn't just rare. It was extraordinary. But what truly made fans emotional was a clip shared during an exclusive interview. Lee Min-ho was asked, "What's the most beautiful moment you've ever experienced?" He paused, smiled gently, and